Speak up. Speak up. All right, y'all, you ready? We're finally gonna do our Q&A that we promised we would do, what, a couple months ago?
And she forgot.
I did forget.
I texted her the other day and I said, when are we doing our Q&A? And what'd you say?
Whenever you want to.
And I was like, well, I can, you know, this and this day. And she was like, okay, because I forgot.
I'm gonna use Mama.
Shade thrown.
I'm gonna use Mama's line. I'm old. I gotta find her questions.
Not prepared. I can't work in these conditions. How many notes you have?
Alright, hey y'all, welcome back. So today we are going to be doing our Q&A that was promised, how long ago, Donna?
A long time.
Anyway, we finally have gotten together and I finally remembered. And so now I have the questions that y'all have asked. So, you ready?
I don't know.
I don't know. I can't remember all the questions. So if I get to one that you don't want to answer, just say pass.
Okay.
Okay. Are you going to have kids one day?
Absolutely. Well, not human kids. Now, I will have fur children, and I do have Benson, and he is my fur baby. And I do correct anybody that tries to say he's not my baby, because he is my baby. So, yes and no.
So you and Shyla are not gonna, you're not gonna give birth to a human being?
Not intentionally, no.
Okay. How did you and Tyler meet?
Oh, I need Cody and Sarah here for this one. They kind of set us up. They were going to his church for a few months, and then I was single at the time, and I was at Sarah's house, Cody and Sarah's house, and Sarah was like, Delana, there's this guy at church that I think would be a good fit for you. And I was like, what's his name? She was like, Tyler Gravely. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I know him. And that was all that of that day, that conversation. Then Cody, I didn't know, but him and another friend were like harassing Tyler about meeting me, talking to me, all this. So we started playing Words with Friends on the phone, Scrabble for your phone.
Hence, that's the reason why their picture, the wedding picture, they have forever spelled out, and she has those 3 Scrabble tiles in their bedroom because it's a play off of that.
And so I had started going to church at this time there, and he would never talk to me in person, but he would send me messages through the game like, oh, nice, or, you know, just game talk. And then finally, he called me, and I didn't answer. I was like, no. So and then I texted Cody right away. I was like, oh my gosh, he just tried to call me. And he was like, well, answer it. And I was like, no, what if it was a mistake? And so I did end up answering it. He did call me back. And he said he almost didn't. But I answered, and he asked me out on an official date. And so we went on a date. And so that's all happened. I'm going to get my years all messed up here.
What year did you get married?
19.
So that was in 18.
So in 18, we went on our first date. So in 17, for a few months, was the game back and forth, Scrabble, whatever.
So there you go. Words with Friends would have just summed it all up.
Well, I wanted to give the history.
How long did y'all date before you married?
Again with the dates. A year and... February's a year, so what is February to December? A year and that many months.
11 months?
No.
January to December would be 12 months. February to December would be 11 months.
Really?
It's a good thing you're pretty. And you're a nurse?
I have a funny story about that.
This was a question for me. What did I think of him? Did I like him? I thought he was the sweetest. I still think that. He is just, honestly, I could not have handpicked anybody more perfect for her. His temperament, his personality,
Poor thing.
just everything about him. He is just so genuine and so sweet, and I truly love him with all of my heart, and he does not know how much I go to bat for him and calm this one down, because she'll be on a tear, not a tear about him, but just maybe something that's going on in her life or this and that, and I'm like, oh gosh, she's fixing to go home and Tyler's gonna come in, and oh my Lord. So I try to calm her down before Tyler even gets home, and he has to take the brunt of it. So you're welcome, Tyler. Not that you watch, but anyway, if you do, I just think we just love him. He is just...
Okay, next.
He's just wonderful. I just love him. Oh, how did we come up with your name?
Oh, that's a you question.
It's a play off of her biological father's name. His name is D-Lane. And my brother's name is Robert. And so I took Robin from Robert, and I took Delana from her biological father's name, D-Lane. So that's how her name come about. And honestly, when I named her Delana, I had never, ever heard that name before. And now
it's everywhere.
I hear it quite a bit.
But not on keychains or magnets or anything like that.
And it's always spelled differently. I wanted to spell it basically like her dad's name, just adding an A at the end, but he insisted it have 2 N's. So it's spelled D-E-L-A-N-N-A. I wanted it D-E-L-A-N-A, but you know.
And that's how everybody spells it. Apparently in grammatical English, whatever, the way it's pronounced is not the way it's spelled. It should be 1 N.
How should it be pronounced? Delana?
Yeah, like an extra, like drawn
well, I didn't want that extra N in there, but you know, it's called compromise, so that's how her name come about. What are you most excited about when the renovations are done? Well, you can answer this now, because when these questions come in, your house is being renovated. It was, oh y'all. It's a lot. Most of it's done. There's still some tweaking you need to do here and there, but I mean, what are you most excited? You was most excited to see that middle wall come down and all that get
and that bathroom.
To get in the bathrooms. And she was very surprised. I'm answering this for you. Okay. She was very surprised at actually how large her master closet was. Mm-hmm. Because, you know, when they're ripping out walls and you're talking about things, it's kind of hard to visualize the actual size of it, because even framing it up will look different than it does when you put the sheetrock and all that on it. So she was very, very surprised at that. So I think that you've really enjoyed everything, really.
Yeah. Our next big project will be down the road, and it'll just be flooring. That's really the big thing we have left.
No, it's not. You also want to swap your laundry room.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's not going to be as big of an ordeal. But you survived the renovations. I'm really proud of you. You had a mini breakdown, though.
I did. I had several.
Once again, Tyler just took it like a champ. Okay. The city and state you live in. She lives in Wiggins, Mississippi.
And apparently there's 2 Wiggins.
In Mississippi?
Yeah. I learned that from Cody's podcast. Him and Tyler went back, not my Tyler, his brother Tyler. Was talking about how when they were, I forget what they were looking at, researching or something, and there was 2
I think there's a Wiggins, Oklahoma.
Okay, maybe not in Mississippi.
Because the reason I say that, Sarah was looking for something on Facebook Marketplace, and she thought it was in Wiggins, and it was, but it was like Wiggins, Oklahoma, or somewhere like that.
Okay, maybe not in
Mississippi. So she lives in Wiggins, Mississippi. So how did you feel when James and I got together?
I have always loved JJ. He's always spoiled me, and I'm basically his daughter. So.
And he has always, since day one of meeting her, always referred to her as the princess. When he says the princess, we have no doubt in our minds who he's referring to. But I also remind him, well, if she's the princess, that makes me the queen. Mm. And then he says he's the king. So, anyway. But they've always had a special bond. How long did James and I date before we married? We dated, what, 1.5 years, 2 years?
Long time.
Let's see. No, we actually dated probably about 3 years before we got married. We've already answered, do you plan on having children? Okay, was it hard for you to have extra brothers when James and I married?
No. I've always had Cody, my brother. I have 2 other brothers. I got boy cousins. I think I have 1 girl cousin. Boys brothers, I'm used to it. So no, it wasn't.
And James's 2 younger boys were so young that it was just like, no big deal. But his older son, he's always asking, how's my sister? What's my sister doing? How's she doing? I mean, but I think y'all kind of knew each other in passing before James and I ever got together anyway, right?
Yeah, he was 1 or 2 years ahead of me in school, so I knew him through high school.
We're very blessed to be a very happy, blended family.
Blended, yes, blended.
Everybody just loves everybody and gets along. And I know that that can kind of sound corny and maybe come off as like, okay, yeah, right. No, it really is true. I mean, a lot of prayer, y'all. God can do anything. Okay. What is your best memory of me growing up and your most embarrassing memory of me growing up? Be nice, please.
Oh, man. Best memory. I don't know. I mean, everything. I mean, we've not always liked each other, but...
We've always loved each other,
But because of all of that, like, we're best friends today. So, I mean, best memory, I guess, is just you.
I've always tried to be, mom first. But I also tried to have a healthy balance between mom and friend and like to goof off and have fun. And I've always tried to understand, and I got this from my mother, I always tried to understand the ages that she was in and how, at different ages you're a little sillier and at other ages you're a little more moody. And then this age you're a little more emotional. And, I've tried to like always kind of understand that. And when she was in the silly stage, try to be silly and fun with her. And when she's having the emotional breakdowns, be that support. I mean, I've tried. That does not mean that I was perfect and I did everything right. But overall, I hope you know that I did do my best.
Yeah. And we're best friends today, so...
What's your most embarrassing memory of me?
I don't know if this is most embarrassing, but it sticks out the most. And
what?
The Spencer Day. The day in Spencer's. I had gotten a belly ring. We went and got my belly button pierced. I think I was like 15, 16. She was all against it at first. I won't use her words, but she just didn't think it was appropriate at that time for a 15, 16-year-old to have a belly ring. But
why did I do it? If I was against it, why did I do it?
Because one of your friends had let their daughter, and so you were like, well, okay, and peer pressure. Anyway, so yay for me, not so good on you. So got my belly button pierced, all that. Well, we were out shopping, and this is when we lived closer to the Mobile area, the mall.
Alabama.
Yeah. Is it Bel Air Mall?
Bel Air Mall.
Bel Air Mall. And they had a store called Spencer's. I'm sure if you've been around, you know what that is. It's not really teenage.
They should have an age limit before you're allowed to walk in that store.
But very like, not kid friendly. But anyway, kids could go in there. So we go in there because I don't think at this point, had you ever been into Spencer's?
Yes, but the Spencer's I used to go into was quite different than the Spencer's of your day.
Okay, so we go in there because I want a cute little belly ring. And they sold that, so we went in there. Y'all, I'm looking, and she's just, and this is before she had control. She would just lash out, just say whatever and didn't care.
I told y'all God's done a work on me.
Yes. And this poor cashier lady was, doing her job, trying to help us and all this. And I forget what just set you off that day in that moment, but she went off talking about how you said something about could catch gonorrhea just from walking in this place. Like, we just need to go. And I was so embarrassed. And I just hung my head down and we walked out. And I was like, never again.
That just goes to show, if nobody else can see the difference that the Lord has done to me
I have seen it.
you can definitely say that I am not the same person I used to be. I am not, y'all. Y'all don't have a clue.
No.
I am. If y'all would have known me then versus now, oh, I'm kind of ashamed of it. But I'm not ashamed of it because it's my history, and it just goes to show what God can do and how He can transform and change you from that to a better version of yourself. So
now you answer those two questions.
The best memory of you growing up? I just love the relationship that you and I have. I mean, you are the one person on this planet that I have always been able to be 100% myself with and know you're going to love me anyway. I mean, I have yelled at you. I have fussed at you. I have been wrong and had to apologize to you. I've loved you. And you've always loved me through it all, just like I have you. And I guess just you being you.
So basically my answer is your answer for that one.
I guess.
That's what I said.
Well, I mean.
You done forgot?
Yeah.
I'm old.
And my most embarrassing memory of you growing up.
I don't know if I want to know.
Nothing really sticks out in my mind. I guess because, you were my kid growing up. And, I guess you just expect your kid to, at different times, embarrass you. But I can't recall a most embarrassing moment.
What about the guy when he talked about my eyes? And you have hung that over my head all my life.
Okay, yeah, I guess that would be it. Yes, thank you for reminding me. You know I'm old. All of her life, since birth, everyone has always made comments about how beautiful her eyes were. She's heard it from the time she was born. And I get it. But, when somebody you're meeting for the very first time, stranger, a friend, whatever, and they've never met you before, and they comment on, oh my goodness, you have the most beautiful eyes. I get it. You've heard it all your life. Just say thank you and go on. She was like, oh, I know, my eyes.
And how old was I?
Oh, I don't know. He was, 6 or 7 years old? I don't know, but I was just like, I am so sorry. And I probably beat the crap out of her, quite honestly. I know I scolded her pretty rough. And I told her, I said, I don't care how many times you hear it. You always say thank you and move on. It's called manners. What's your favorite hobby?
Oh, that one. I don't know. I have hobbies, but when people ask me, I don't know what they are. Right now, reading is a big one. My pool.
I would honestly, if somebody was to ask what your favorite hobby is, I would tell them reading, because you've always loved to read. You've always been a reader.
And a little pat on my back. I'm on book 11 of this year. I said this year I'm going to start reading more, like actually read books, and that's one I've stuck to.
Yeah. What made you want to be a nurse?
Money. That was a wrong motive.
She's not telling the truth on that.
No, so in high school, they always ask you your senior year, what's your plan, goals, yada, yada. I had no idea. None. I always hated that question because I didn't know. So after graduating, I did I had a family member who had done like a CNA course and was working, and I was like, oh, that seems interesting, so I'll do that. So I did 2-week program, got my, I'm shaking the table. My bad if I made y'all sick. Got my certification, started working. I did assisted living. It was okay. It wasn't my favorite, but I did enjoy it. Then I got a job with hospice, doing home health, hospice type work. Fell in love with it. So, and my boss at that time really played a big impact, had a big impact on me going back to nursing school. She was always like, you're going to make a great nurse. You should do this, So I went the long way around, of course. I couldn't just do the simple thing. So I took a few courses here, a few courses there. Still was working full-time as, a hospice aide, CNA, whatever you want to call it. Finally got into the nursing program at USM in Long Beach, Mississippi. I did have to take a few courses in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. But yeah, I got into nursing because I fell in love with hospice, which might sound kind of crazy and be a little dark, but
I think for people that don't understand hospice, it can kind of sound like that, but I mean,
it is not a death sentence. People
it's not.
think that it is. It's really not.
I mean, we had a lot of patients that would get put on hospice and actually get so much better, they would have to come off of hospice. And then also the ones that are so terminal that they're on hospice, you're playing such an important role in their life. I mean, you're making them comfortable. You're making sure, you know, it's not just taking care of the patient as well. It's like taking care of the family and all that. I mean, you're just there, your support, and you get attached.
Oh, yeah.
You get attached. But I highly, highly recommend if anybody that's in that stage in their life, like getting out of high school, don't know what you want to do. If you've considered nursing, I think she did it the right way because she didn't know anything about nursing. We didn't really have any nurses in our family. Wasn't even really friends with any nurses per se. But she kind of always kind of toyed with the idea of being a nurse. And so she did the CNA class and worked that for how many years was you in aid? Like 6 or 7 years. Mm-hmm. And really decided, you know, she really enjoyed that part of it. And I think, quite honestly, she enjoys the aid part of it more now than the nursing part of it.
Yes, the nursing part.
I think she likes the patient care, and they've made it so nowadays where the nurses have so much documentation that it really limits the actual patient care time, which is sad.
And, I don't know how it is where y'all live, but nurses around here, we take the blunt of most problems. It's never the physician, ever, even when it should be. And that's all I want to say.
And how many miles do you live from me?
How many is it?
I'll say it's about 40.
It's 45-minute drive if you don't speed. So
40, 45 miles from me, which I don't like that, but.
Because I have a pool and she wishes she'd come over every day.
No. No. All right, that's all the questions I have for you.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I can ask you, like, do you like thrifting like I do?
No, I do not. I enjoy when she goes and buys me stuff, but I could take it or leave it.
I'm working on her, y'all. All right. Well, there you go. If y'all have any other questions for her, y'all can just leave them in the comment section down below, and I will try to.
Next time, ask about Benson. I could talk about Benson.
We'll talk about Benson. What about Benson?
That's my baby. My little 35-pounder.
He's so precious. Let me tell y'all about Benson. Well, I'll start it, then you can tell. Like, when they moved in, when all the renovations were going on and they were both working and, you know, the contractors were in and out of the house, they were having to put him in puppy daycare, which was at his vet's office. They have like a daycare thing.
Which, back up, he had been going, when we lived at our old house, when he met, you had to get, I think, like 6 months old before you could come or whatever. So when he hit that, we started taking him at least once a week he would go.
And then the renovation started, and so all that, so they were taking him the days that they worked. Like, you worked 3 or 4 days a week, so he was going at least 3 or 4 days to daycare. So when all the renovations were done and they no longer had to take him, Benson went through a depression because we were like, what's going on with Benson? And she says, I really think he misses daycare. And I'm like, well, that's sad. Y'all need to at least take him a couple days a week if that's the deal. I mean, what's it going to hurt, you know? So, sure enough, they take him at least once, maybe twice a week to daycare. And Tyler drops him off because it's up there where Tyler works. And he says he knows when they pull in the driveway.
And he does his little excited whine.
He gets so excited. And then what did the vet and them say about Benson at daycare?
That he runs the daycare. Like, he is it. And I was like, I can see that.
But I just thought it was so pitiful that he went through his little depression because he would just lay around and just mope. And that's not like Benson at all. And that's what it was. So now he's fine. He gets to go a couple days a week, 1 or 2 days a week. And that's where he's at right now because his mama had something she had to do today. Daddy's at work. And Benson's at daycare. And he's happy, which, you know what? That's got to make you feel good that he wants to go.
Yeah.
That's how it was when you were little. And I would have to take you to daycare. I mean, I was glad that you was excited to go.
Yeah. Because
that means they were doing you right and treating you right, so.
And one day he went, I think he was either just getting over being a little sick. He had a real bad ear infection. And we had to take him. And one of the ladies there, she said that she just basically cuddled him, held him all day. So that made me feel good, so.
Oh, he's such a love bug.
He is.
Anything else you want to say about your baby?
I love him, and I miss him.
And you love your Tyler.
My little, well.
You can't see it. Her little shirt says dog mom.
I wear it all the time. It's super comfortable too. Amazon.
All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with us. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If y'all do have any other questions and maybe would like to see another Q&A, I'm going to tell you right now, don't even ask for Tyler because he's not going to do it. I've said in the past, I don't ever put anybody on camera that does not want to be, and he does not like to be on camera, hence why he is rarely, if ever, in my videos because I respect his privacy. So that's not going to happen, but if you would like to see a Q&A with her and James or...
Oh, y'all request that. I would love that. And Mama.
Well, no, they do want to do a Q&A with Mama, but she's like, I don't know, Donna. I'm just not up for that. I was like, okay, well, maybe
I'll get her on here.
Just let us know. We don't mind. But this was fun. I love you.
I love you.
You're my best friend.
You're my best friend.
And this is real, y'all.
And Cody is still the favorite.
Oh, my God. How many of you mamas out there that have more than one child can vouch for what I'm saying? You love them the same amount, but you love them differently. And why is that? Because they are different individuals. They have different personalities. You've raised them, the way you have, but you've had to raise them and discipline them and deal with them differently because they are different people. And what works on her does not work on Cody and vice versa. Hence why she always says Cody is my favorite. And it drives me insane because I don't have a favorite. We gotta go, y'all. I'm fixing to beat her. I'm gonna whip her butt. Bye, y'all. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.